So we had Raw, and if we had Raw, that means you probably had a bad day, you got sick, your girl left you, cheated on you with a big black dude, and then got kicked in the nuts. Then you had to sit down and watch Monday Night Raw. The worst day to die young. That's about it. Let's just go into whatever garbage this was. Raw was garbage. 1.4. If you just looked at the card, you know it's just certified they're just wrestling. Even Joe Cronin, like he can be a smart at times. Don't get me wrong. He's still an entertaining podcaster. The guy can actually is a compelling talker whenever he has a lot more time. But God, he knows. Like you know what he said that I agreed with. This is the time where they had to do more promos and segments than wrestling matches. They were just trying to stretch over the gap for just wrestling and nothing else. And guess what? The show suffered. The show dragged, and he was completely right. We had a four-way advertised for no benefit. They could have been like there could have been immunity for no if whoever wins the four-way doesn't get to wrestle next week. They could have built that up to a segment into a four-way match to garner heat for the heel. Like anybody that was a heel in that four-way. Easiest way to garner over heat for Alexa Bliss because most of her shit was segments anyway, just to build up for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Then we had the opener. Lashley opens the show more than main events in an episode of Monday Night Raw. I don't think I've ever seen a main event a pay per view, and that's sad because Lashley could be in a decent attraction. But didn't take away his major heel faction. Didn't make him always have undervaluing matches on pay per view, even though they're better ones. And I don't know, he's just more of a legit looking dude. I mean, sure, he doesn't have that much physical charisma. Sure, the guy looks like a hoss, but he's just not that enticing when it comes to major plots in the show. And it shows it. But, like, you want to make sure you want to build him up as more dominant. Not to have a 15-minute bore fest with Xavier Woods, like, oh, the video gamer is the underdog. He beat you in a Hell in a Cell. But you want to have him over a gloat, lose off a roll up. Why Kofi didn't just distract him and hit him with Trouble in Paradise? But now that's just making Lashley feel like he's angry, and Kofi, we know Kofi's not going to win. It's just so stupid. And they're trying to overshadow Kofi to be a main event guy. This is the guy people want for some apparent reason. Kofi is not a guy that you want revolting around your TV show. They'll make the mid card get more segments than Kofi Kingston because he's that boring of an individual. He has a bad chest, has a slave physique, looks like he hasn't been fed in 14 years, and just he just has the charisma of a black stepfather, and nobody in the world wants to be a black stepfather. Eva Marie showed up in Alexa's playground before a four-way match, where it's like what? Just tell me. And like it wasn't even a scheduled interview. They just came over for a visit. She Eva Marie gloated, and it's like there's a way to make this get over. You make Eva Marie be completely center of attention of Raw. Like majority of women's segments, she has the paparazzi, she has the pictures, she does these giant public advertisements for Raw, and whenever she has a match, when I think they already do this anyway. Whenever Doudrop wins, the win goes over to Eva Marie or anybody else, make that official and make that contractually obligated. You get heat for Eva Marie, and that's gonna garner more to make sure we get a babyface role for Doudrop. And guess what? That's gonna do. That's gonna garner more heat for Eva Marie because that shows that she's just there to just be a piece, and she doesn't get to do a darn thing. Guess what? The fans will eat this up because all they care about is work rate. I don't know why they don't take advantage of this. Eva Marie looks the part, and she obviously has a character that gets the right reaction for the fans. And guess what? She has tough skin about it. And I like to see more of this in most of the other talent. Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal coming around with a motorcycle, with the Great Khali Juniors, with his crap motorcycle. The way McIntyre was just beating it up, he was just dismantling plastic parts, and then one gas exit from the motorcycle. It actually looked better. Literally, it looked better. I wasn't even making any joke to insult the heel. It literally looked better without all that extra shit on it. And then afterwards, uh, I got. You never take anything on Raw because it's obviously gonna break. That was the only cool part. That was the only cool part. McIntyre made sure that looked so underwhelming. I don't care about this feud with Jinder because we know this is not gonna push over Jinder because he already looks like an idiot. Then we got Nikki Ash, Naomi, and Asuka with Nikki Ash winning over like roll up after roll up. This is the second match in a row with a roll up finish. So they're already not concealing over that Nikki Cross can ever beat a legit top woman if her finisher's not over. And especially when you're establishing a new character with her. And I still don't know her finish. This is the second time she forces over this underdog shtick, and she's not even over the top with her whole superhero shit. I'm already over it. At least I already know, okay, the Hurricane's going to use the Vertibreaker whenever the timing strikes. I don't know what the hell. I think it's called the Nightmare on Helm Street, but I'm not saying that. Ah, God, Nikki. Nikki Cross sucks. Nikki Ash sucks. Fire this chick. I'm sick and tired of seeing her. She is a nasally voice with a Scottish accent and no charisma. That is a bad mixture when you try to give something an over the top character, like a superhero gimmick. And especially if she's not even in that much of a character, if she's making these make a wish speeches and not being over the top, she does the retarded little mini runs into the floor, and she looks less like watchable. Most of the women look less watchable, even though some of these women look good. Asuka looks good. Alexa Bliss looks good. They have presentable looking women, but the way they treat them, they make them look like they're 15-year-olds. That's stupid. Oh, this match as well. This match was an average 4-way, even though it's just take the women out, let them do their spot. Take the women out, let them do their spot. And then we had Doudrop and Eva Marie come. Why do a run-in when a match literally has no benefit for the 4 women going in, and most of them are already in the Money in the Bank ladder match anyway? I don't get it. And then literally it came with Eva Marie. I thought Doudrop was about to hint a relationship with Alexa, and okay, that would be fine. I don't know if it got foreshadowed. Doudrop scared Alexa scared Eva, and then when Doudrop came to get rid of Alexa, she literally instant transmission from Dragon Ball Z out from the barricade. Then the match continued. Literally, like that was like 5 minutes of the 4-way acting like a sideshow for another segment of the match, and it didn't even revolve around the match. Somebody could have done a schoolboy or their own finisher and ended it right there over a simple distraction. That match could have been 4 minutes of everybody's time, but no, they had to make sure it lasted for another 8. Then they kept doing chain reversals. Naomi got taken out, so it was just Alexa. I know it was just Asuka and Nikki Cross. Asuka came with an elevated face breaker. Everything was okay. After an Asuka lockout reverse, it just ended up in a schoolboy, some roll up, whatever. No one cares. Oh, then we had Ivan and Eric and Ivor, the Viking Raiders, go over their dumb segment. Match was so boring. Literally, I know Omos doesn't have to be a great wrestler. He just needs to do cool power moves, look dominant, sell over styles, and that's it. That's literally his job. That's what he signed there for. If you guys expect him to have these NXT matches, y'all some weirdos. I don't know how you expect wrestling to be. You have a role set for you. You have to establish the role. If you're good at it, you can get elevated from it. That's how it works in wrestling, bro. And if you're that over, you probably will get more quirks in the wrestling business. That works for a lot of people. That Wifing R-Truth still has a job, and he's treated like a retard on TV. I'm being serious. Styles won over countering. Ivor beat Styles off countering the Styles Clash with a charge to the corner. And then it got into a Omos and Ivar match where Eric match where Omos hit a choke slam. Literally the bare minimum of offense for Omos to look dominant and quick. Fair enough, because all the guy wears is civil clothes anyway for a bouncer. I wouldn't mind that if they actually made him wear actual realistic gear, or at least made him look like more of a Haas. Make him wear stuff like Big Boss Man from the late '90s wear or something. Bro, we had U.S. title match with Humberto Sheamus. Yes, Sheamus and Humberto return with their feud. How many people asked for that? I'm not asking, because I already know the answer, and it's nothing, because no one asked. They've been off the TV for like several weeks, and the build was just Sheamus attacking this sweaty jobber for the last four weeks of no one's interest. Things we don't even know what's the establishment of these guys. When you don't know the established character of who is Humberto Del Grillo, especially when he wears no mask and he does lucha libre, he establishes no interesting quirk about him, no character. No one cares how he speaks, even though it's all primarily Spanish, and no charisma. He has a baby face with the body of those worm things for Men in Black. You cannot look like that and expect to go over. Then Sheamus just beats him backstage like you have to. The guy is literally built like a twig, and Sheamus still has to beat him up backstage with Damian Priest just being the cheerleader. And then they built him up after he had to sell his injury and take a bro kick. So it's literally to build up over Damian Priest after the bare minimum. You could just not have him on TV at all. So they're probably going to build Priest and Sheamus on an episode of Raw or SummerSlam. Either way, I don't care which, because Damian Priest's been built over like a sideshow since that Miz and him feuding back at WrestleMania Backlash went nowhere in the zombie bullshit. Yeah, remember that? Like, none of this is establishing any character. None of this is establishing any build, because it looks like the cheerleader now just gets a random shot all because he helps the babyface out. And Sheamus just looks less of a badass. Like, they don't want to make sure that he actually is dominant in a certain phrase if he still does cheap tactics, and especially if a warrior gimmick where you treat Irish people like badasses like you did with Finlay. And Sheamus actually has the ability to do that, and I don't know why they make him do this. It doesn't garner heat, because it's just so unrealistic. Then Ricochet beat Morrison in a match where supposed highlights were supposed to happen, even though this is the third rematch. The third rematch. Ugh. There's a splash on the ladder. A tope suicide. I think both men went down over the. We had Riddle do these shitty promos, bro. I swear to God. I'm sorry I didn't go over this earlier, but I wanted to ignore these things. Like, you guys. I don't know if you guys ask whenever I miss a segment or two, and I'm just glad you don't, because I'm not going back to talk about it. Every Riddle promo just feels like a slow kid trying to read a speech. That's what it looks like. And just knowing that people rake over this guy with his barely squinted eyes, speaking with the bare minimum of character, it's like, bro, I'm doing this for Randy Orton, bro. Bro, did you know what's in the 14th letter of the alphabet? There's only 14 letters in the alphabet, bro. Bro, I'm squinting my eye. None of this is making it chocolish. None of. It's just so stupid, dude. I don't find it funny. It's probably not my type of humor. So I'm not going to completely rack into too much. Just know that none of this can really get a chuckle out of me. And I'm still young enough for that to be technically my designated targeted demographic. That they think, like, even children are going to look at that because they want to see some lanky retard just have these long-winded random conversations and getting the bare minimum of no reaction. Yeah, I find this funny. No, okay, whoever says you find this funny, I say you're not the funniest guy in your group of friends. and he had like 2 segments. I think one involving Miz and Morrison and Ricochet, where he got his foot stomped on again. Why doesn't he wear a cast? And they barely even sell that over because he didn't even have a match. Ripley faced off against Natalya. There was a Dana Brooke, Mandy backstage promo. Was like, why don't you do anything about that? Because they don't think we're gonna wait. When did they get a tag title shot? That's gonna be on kickoff anyway. No one asked. She hits the Riptide and beats Natalya. Whoop-de-doo. Charlotte Flair came in because this is a rivalry. You know the rivalry always comes around when I don't even know who's established the heel. Look, I'm not saying that you can't have heel versus heel matches, but whenever you make that one off and nobody's established as a certain character, it comes off looking stupid and it comes off looking let alone generic because there's no contrast of character or any reason why they're still feuding. This is the third time they're having a pay-per-view match, and I feel like I felt no emotional interest in this matchup. And by the way, I think this was the main event. So imagine that. There was the figure four leg lock with Flair hooking onto the rope. I know, to the ring apron, so they're trying to like, this is personal. They're getting more violent, King. They're getting more violent. I'm kidding. They have Steve Wilkos, a Tyler Perry reject, and of course an unfaithful husband on the commentary table. This show sucked. I'm sorry for being negative like this. I forgot we even had a VIP lounge. Nobody came out. Nothing about this show. And here's the worst thing about this show: we can shit on any bad Nitro, but when it came to like moments to the show, okay, at least I can remember more of an episode of 2000's Nitro than I can remember the last 3 weeks of Raw. That cannot be how you guys think. It's impossible. Literally, like even the invasion angle had some memorable moments. You cannot denounce that. Like, yeah, you can have a shitty show, but if it's memorable, at least you had somewhat of your money's worth. Nobody ran in. We got rid of Carlito for no reason. We have the extensive, no diversity whenever, like, variety when it comes to a wrestling show. Like, the bare minimum of segments. It just felt like I was just watching match after match with a long-winded segment that extends no entertainment value. And over most of these matches, every week, it feels like none of it impacts the next show forward. So it doesn't make the episode feel overarching. Like, you know what I mean? I felt like I got nothing out of watching this episode of Raw, or the last 3 episodes of Raw. You cannot allow yourself to say that and bitch about, if we stop over criticizing Monday Night Raw. Shut your bitch ass up. Because obviously what you're defending right now, I bet you're not watching. Yeah, dude, this show was garbage. I've watched bad episodes of Raw before, and the first time that happened was like 2007, 2009, dude, 2010 to at least 2012 were some shit episodes of Raw. I'm not saying that not everything gonna be perfect. Nobody's batting 1,000. That's never gonna happen. I don't mind if I get a crap show. But at least some parts of it felt like, okay, some parts of this make me feel like I need to watch it next week. None of this feels like I'm gonna watch it next week. So boring. If this is our go home show, and I'm sure half of the people watching this right now forgot that there's gonna be a go home show for a pay per view involving fans. The more people need to be more anticipating this. The show was more conflicted on advertising that there's gonna be fans there than giving a reason why the fans need to watch. Like, I understand that you're WWE, but what else is there in WWE? I'm serious. Like, they're not advertising that. They're not advertising Kofi Kingston. They're not advertising Lashley. Because they know they're not draws. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I apologize for going off like this, people, but this is just the extent of mediocrity that WWE consistently gets in a yearly basis. You guys can't be accepting this. Many people can't be accepting this. I don't want to accept this. And at least the only positive thing is come this Friday, fans are going to be back and hopefully Edge is there. So there's at least going to be a major pop there. The ratings might increase for a bit. Oh man, if getting 1.4s in a year is not enough to explain the sinking ship Raw is always going to be on when they hit below 1 million. They just got to keep doing what they're doing. That's it coming from me. Thank you for watching.